Hello, guys. Mike Goldstein, Easy Dating Coach here. I am so freaking excited. We've got my favorite matchmaker in the entire world here, Rachel Russo. Say hello.
Hi. Oh my gosh, that was such a nice warm welcome. So much energy for 11:46 a.m. too. Amazing.
I'm ready to go, Rachel. I am pumped that you're here. You know why I'm so excited? We're going to talk about texting, which is, I stink at this topic. And the reason I'm so excited is Rachel wrote an article for me, I don't know, probably about a year ago. And the thing went viral. I have like hundreds of people going to it every single day. I will put the article in the comments below for everybody. But we're going to talk about it today because obviously Rachel gives the greatest advice ever on this because people just keep coming to read this thing. So Rachel, let's talk about texting. First, small little story about me. So, fun fact, my girlfriend and I used to fight about texting way back in the day until we fixed it about everything. Like, I stink at it. I would just send text for logistics. She'd be like, oh my God, like, why don't you care about me? You don't make me feel special. And I'm like, this is just texting. I'm clearly communicating wrong and doing it wrong, and I'm getting into fights. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to get this better. So, Rachel, talk to me about texting. What is the number one tip for women to text men to do it right?
Wow. Well, I appreciate that, Mike, sharing your personal experience because I think that a lot of men are doing texting all wrong, but we're not going to point a finger at the men just yet. We're going to talk about women, giving them advice about what they can do better. So I guess if I have to pick the number one tip, I would say it is the length of the text messages, believe it or not. So I'm a writer, and I could also speak from personal experience. This is one of the biggest things that my exes have complained about. So I've learned the hard way. I tend to send paragraphs. And as you may know, men actually process and use less words on a daily basis than women do. So sending a man a huge paragraph in the middle of his work day or really at any time is so overwhelming. And it may make him not want to respond. One of the biggest problems that women are encountering with texting these days is men not responding. So one thing, ladies, that you can do is actually shorten your text messages, even edit them out to use as little words as possible. Choose wisely, and it's really quality, not quantity, with the text that you send to men.
Oh, that is so spot on. It drives me crazy when I get messages when I'm working, and especially long ones. I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know what to do with this. Like, I can't handle this right now. I'm in the middle of something.
Exactly.
So what about this? Like, there's a lot of controversy on whether women should be reaching out to men, especially in the early stages of dating. Do you think women should be texting men when they're on, let's say, like date 3 or 4?
Well, I'm a little conflicted about this, and it's case by case, and I'll give advice for, we'll say, 2 types of women, not to categorize people, but the 2 types of women I'd like to talk about are women who have traditionally more of a feminine energy and women who have more of a masculine energy. The truth is we all have a little bit of both, but if you're watching this, ask yourself, what is your dominant energy? So if you're the feminine energy, you may be a little more into receiving and kind of having the man pursue you and letting him chase, and you're following his lead. So if that's the case, generally, the man should be texting you most of the time. If you are a more masculine kind of energy and you're proactive and you don't really care if you're the one who's texting first or he's the one texting first, then go ahead and text him, even in the early stages of dating. I do think that some men now have more of a feminine energy. All men are not like the masculine energy alpha males. And for those men, they actually might like for you to send a couple text messages. I have heard male clients that I've set up on dates, after 2 dates or 3 dates, they actually say, I don't hear back from her. She doesn't respond to me until hours later. I always have to initiate the text. So these type of men, these more modern day men that are they're not in that traditional role and don't always want to chase, would welcome your text messages. But if it's a guy who really wants to chase and you're sending him a bunch of text messages between dates, he might be turned off because you're making it too easy for him. And he likes the game, he likes the thrill. So you have to ask yourself, what kind of woman are you and what kind of man are you trying to date? And then base your text approach accordingly.
Oh, that is spot on. I love that. All right, but here's the challenging part. So I think it's probably pretty easy to know, like, all right, am I masculine or feminine? But what about these men? Like, how do you know who's the alpha male and who's the beta male? If we got to categorize the beta as, would prefer to receive text messages, how do women figure that out?
Yeah, so that could be a little tricky, but I think a lot of the popularity of that article that I wrote that you're going to put in there had something to do with ignoring. And that's a way to find out. So if a man is texting you, I'm not saying that you should play games all the time, but if you don't answer a man back right away, that's an alpha male, he is going to pursue, and you're going to get more text messages. I just did this the other day, not even on purpose, but I was busy and I didn't have time to respond. And, 12 hours later, I got question marks and did you get my text? And this morning I woke up and can you talk today? So this is clearly an alpha male because he's pursuing there. So if you take a step back, you'll see what the guy prefers.
That's so spot on.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to put a story behind why Rachel's right about this. So I'm super alpha male, so I'm going to pursue. And, I train a lot of women, let the guy pursue. But there really are, one of my very close friends, he couldn't get an online date at all because he just couldn't stand reaching out to women. And then Bumble came out where the woman had to send messages first. And now the guy's like Rico Suave or something. He's going on 2 or 3 dates a week, and it's like heaven for him. And even after dates, he's very hesitant to text. He's just kind of he's a great guy, a catch, great job, great personality. But he's just he's not shy. Once you're one-on-one with him, he's perfectly easy to talk to. But he's not going to ever approach a woman at a bar. He's never going to make first contact. But once you're with him, it's great. So you kind of got to feel out what Rachel said on who's who. So that was perfect, Rachel.
Oh, good. And good for your friends. And I want to say a lot of women go for the alpha males and alpha males are great, but sometimes the beta men are often overlooked and they could really make great boyfriends and husbands. So I would say to kind of give them a chance. And they also tend to be a little I don't want to say they're not career oriented because sometimes they're alpha in their careers and they're beta in their personal life. But if it's a real alpha man, it's usually across the board. And it's traditionally masculine kind of roles that he takes. And he's probably very ambitious and a go-getter in his career. And then that also transfers into his personal life. So you kind of have to look at a guy in his whole context, what does he do for work? How does he interact with his friends? And is he really is he into sports? A lot of things kind of come into play.
Absolutely. Okay, Rachel. Mm-hmm. So we've got the alpha male. We want the big macho guy that treats a woman like a woman and is a Superman. What is the biggest mistake a woman can make when texting the alpha male guy?
Oh, I think it would be kind of initiating more contact or more dates, or if you're asking him out, if you're asking him, hey, can you talk at this time? Don't do that. This is when you need to let that man take the lead. Even sending photos. This is another topic. I don't know any of the girls listening, they might be annoyed, maybe some of your clients, but with the dating apps especially, so many guys are oh, can you send me more pictures? Send me sexy pics. It is so annoying. But some women think this is what guys want. And maybe some of these alpha males are they're more ballsy and courageous to ask for this. And so women are kind of getting into the habit of okay, this is what I have to do. They want pictures, they want a video, all this. I mean, this is happening. So if you just start sending that to a guy, I think it could make you look overeager and kind of desperate. And even if he asks you to send that and you don't feel comfortable, you certainly don't have to. In fact, I would not suggest anything too revealing like that at all if you don't know the guy well. So sending things that will make you look overeager, or initiating dates or initiating phone conversations, that can kind of make it be a turnoff for alpha men.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So wait, since we're on the topic of photos, and we know this is a big problem, unfortunately, if a woman doesn't feel comfortable but is interested in the guy and like, wow, this guy might have promise, although, this is a minor red flag that he's asking for pictures, how can she keep it moving but not send the pictures?
That's a good question, because you don't want to totally dispose of a guy who might be a decent guy, but just thinks it's like the norm to ask women for pictures. So I would say writing something very playful and lighthearted and kind of making it like, I'm not ready, I'm not comfortable to send that yet, but maybe in the future, ... like emoji, wink face, just kind of making it something that it could be coming in the future, but I'm not comfortable right now. And it's nothing personal against you. I'm not that kind of girl, something like that.
Yeah, that's perfect. You want to keep it playful, but you want to stay true to yourself. Super important. And, I want to just tell women, like from a male perspective, it is so freaking sexy when a woman is able to like have a boundary. Like, as an alpha male, when a woman just sends me the picture or whatever, I mean, quite frankly, like, I'm probably going to lose interest. Or and really, as a man, 9 times out of 10, I'm asking for a picture because I'm really not that interested. If I was interested, I'm trying to impress her. Like, I'm not going to be asking for a photo. I'm not a total, I am not very intelligent, but I'm not a total idiot. Like, I know that women probably don't prefer this. I would be like courting her. I'd be like, how about a date? Like, how about I get her roses? How about I do something like, no, not making her do something if I'm trying to court. So quite frankly, you
That's
need to get
really good
on the
point.
date. What?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when men are interested, they're trying to impress you. That's the rule of thumb. So if he's not trying to impress you and he's just asking for things, he either, I hate to say, he's not that into you, or he's just selfish. He's just self-centered. And ask yourself if you really want to be with someone like that. You didn't even go on 2 dates yet. He's already harassing you for pictures. Like, he's going to make a great boyfriend. What have you done for me? So kind of look at it like that.
Absolutely. But just to not totally hate on men, we do make mistakes, and this guy may be perfect, minus, a small mistake here asking for a photo.
Yes.
So if you can, like, since you've never met each other, you're not a real person until you meet each other. He doesn't know if you're actually who you say you are.
Right.
So maybe just transition to getting to the date and seeing if there's some chemistry, seeing if you have things in common. So don't totally rule them out based on that.
That's a really good point. Also, people are sort of not in the state of mind that people are real until they actually meet them. That's so common today. And women get very upset because they're not being treated well early on. And I think they should be treated well from the first interaction, just because that could be his future wife. But men don't always see it like that until they've met you. It's not like you're going to get the special treatment.
Yes. All right, Rachel. We went off topic. Let's go back to texting. All right, let's talk about this beta guy. Because first of all, let's talk about the beta guy. So this guy is typically very marriage material. He's not a player, which is fabulous. Like, he's not going to be a guy that's dating 10 women most of the time, which is great. So you don't have to worry about him like running off, and you got a trustworthy guy. So that's why we're excited about this guy. And typically they're very smart and they've got their life together. They just aren't going to like be coming at you full bore. That's it. But they're still fantastic. So that's why we're interested in this guy. So the beta guy, how do we text this guy, since he may not send the text and may not ask you on a date? How do we get this guy out there via text?
Yeah. So I think that you may have to take the lead a little more here with this guy. And you can kind of create the conversation in a way that will be more likely to get him to open up. And just simple things like asking open-ended questions can go a very long way. Never ask a beta guy a yes or no question, because the conversation might end right there. So you have to prompt him a little bit to get more, to extract more out of him. And with a beta guy, you may have to follow up like after the first date. As you talked about with your friend, he might not text a woman. Maybe he really liked her. So in this case, you may want to send a text the next day and say, I had a really great time. Thank you again. Would love to see you again. You really kind of have to like encourage and nudge this guy to ask you out again. So I would say to make it really obvious that you're interested, and then hopefully he'll have the courage to take the lead.
Oh, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Now with this beta guy, do you ever suggest, having a text to saying like, hey, I'd love to get on the phone and chat with you? Or is that a no-no?
Well, a few factors come into play. First of all, how old is the beta guy? Because if he's under 30 years old, chances are, and he's really in the millennial generation, he may not even be wanting to talk on the phone at all right away. This talking on the phone seems to be something that women have to ease their boyfriends into. It used to not be like that, but it seems to be now. So I would probably in person, when you're on the date, ask him if he is a phone person, if he likes to talk on the phone when he's in a relationship, something like that, without coming across too serious or heavy with it. You can even make a joke about how no one talks on the phone anymore these days, so that you can get a sense. Because if you just ask him that, he may feel cornered or pressured to have to talk on the phone, and he may not want to. And if you just start calling him, he might not pick up. And this is not a good thing. You don't want to start the relationship off like that.
Ooh, that is such good advice.
Thanks.
I love that. Now, what about when you're further down the line and maybe your boyfriend, girlfriend at this point, or at least like been dating a while, and it's clear that you're focused on each other.
Okay.
And he's not giving you any freaking phone calls, and you want to talk on the phone. You want to build some connection. You're only able to see each other maybe once a week or maybe sometimes twice. And in between, you'd like some feelings with him. How do we get the guy to make phone calls?
So I have two suggestions. One would be taking advantage of the fact that men are very visual creatures. So they might like it better if you offer to FaceTime or Skype with them. And they find it easier sometimes to interact like face-to-face, even virtually. So you can offer that. Secondly, you could kind of just like surprise him and call him sometimes, and if you're dating in a relationship, and keep the conversations brief and fun. And then maybe he'll start to realize this isn't so bad. This isn't so painful. I think something that guys dread is the routine of it, feeling like they have to check in, that they have to call a girl all the time. A lot of people that I know in relationships do like to kind of say goodnight. That's sort of a standard way that you can get a guy to call you by telling him up front, I'd really like to hear from you every day or every other day, even if you just call me for 5 minutes to say goodnight and tell me how your day was. Those things can really keep the momentum going in a relationship. And it's not so painful, even for a guy who's not a phone person. If he really likes you, eventually, he's going to want to hear your voice. He's going to want to connect. So if he knows, okay, all I have to do is call her before I go to sleep for 5 minutes, it's ending in 5 minutes, I think most guys can handle that.
Interesting. So that's pretty unique. So as a man, early on, from the transition from single to into a relationship, I feel like as a man, I'm kind of the routine. I got to call her every night to say goodnight. I don't necessarily love that.
Mm-hmm.
But when a woman phrases it in a certain way, I can get behind it.
Right.
And
so tell me what you mean, having her say she's really excited to talk to you and just say goodnight, something that kind of validates how she feels about you. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, kind of. So I have a very simple formula for women, and I'm a man, so I love formulas, but all you have to do is say, it would make me the happiest woman in the world if you did X. So if she said, it would make me the happiest woman in the world if you would call me at night to say goodnight.
Right. Then you get to feel like the hero, right?
Yes.
Because
I
you're
want to
doing
feel
it,
like
you're
the
making her
hero.
happy. That's such good advice because that really works well with men and they feel like they're winning because they're doing what they want to make their girlfriend happy.
And I'd say bear with them a little bit. Like it's going to be it could be a rough transition because he's used to being like single man, having his freedom, and now he's like, oh,
Yes.
my freedom's being pulled away from me by being forced to have to call every night. But the way you counteract that and get him excited about it is every time you call, be like, oh my God, I'm so happy to hear from you. Like, thank you for calling me. And eventually, like, if you keep appreciating him every time he calls, it will
Right.
become routine and he'll be like, this is something I want to do because I know it makes her so happy. And quite frankly, it's really easy. It's not a hard thing to do. But in his head, he's really worried about the freedom being pulled away from him because as
Right.
a single man, he's got freedom. Like, I do whatever I want. If I want to go do this, I do that. And now it's like, well, no, now I'm forced to do this. So that's
Yep.
intrinsically why we don't like it. But how you can get stuff is just, you'll make me the happiest woman in the world if you do X. Does that make
Right.
sense?
It totally makes sense. It goes a long way. And I think like a lot of men that are not interested in committing, women think they're commitment phobes. It's not that they don't want a relationship. It's that they associate having a relationship with a loss of freedom, like you're saying. So if you could find a way to make him still feel that he has his freedom, you're winning. You're both winning. And he may really come to enjoy it a lot more than he thought, especially if you're positive and you're having meaningful conversations, even if it is the 5 minutes a day. If that's a behavior that you want to continue as a woman, I would say then make it as positive as you can. Don't call him at the end of the day to complain and vent every day. Like actually have a good conversation. He'll look forward to it more.
Yes. All right, Rachel, let's talk about something I stink at. How can women, let's say you're on date 5, 6, you're going after the beta guy, and actually maybe like date 8, and it's time to flirt via texting. Like you guys are actually having kind of conversations going back and forth, and you want to kind of like spice it up.
Okay.
How you do that?
Spice it up. Well, it's so personalized because every couple kind of has their like inside jokes and their little witty banter. So I think if I have to give general advice, I would say a few things. But overall, I mean, use what you know about a person and what they like and what he would find funny and what he would find sexy, and then use that. So personalize this advice. But one thing you can definitely do is use like cute little nicknames, not nauseating nicknames, but guys like joking around, just like in kindergarten. If they like you, they pull your hair. So think of it that way. Kind of have a little bit of like teasing and joking around with your texting. Texting like random photos and things that you encountered during the day that make you think of the person. That can kind of go a long way. If you see something funny, you may say something that you probably wouldn't say to anyone else. Like even if it's a little off color or politically incorrect, like send it to that person if you know that they'll appreciate your humor, because guys really like to laugh. So sending them something funny or cute or special, that goes a long way as well.
Oh, that's good advice. I love the pictures, and guys really respond to that because we're visual. But
Yes.
now, in terms of the alpha male, like, what do you do with him? Because me personally, if you sent me that stuff, I'd probably, if it happened all day, I'd be like, oh my God, just leave me alone. Like,
Right.
what do you do with the alpha male?
Okay, so you don't want to do it all day. That makes it lose its charm. You only just want to kind of do it every now and then. I mean, alpha males like jokes and memes and videos and fun stuff too. It has to be something that's like important to them though. It can't just be, it can't just be something that you like. Maybe it's something that they said or a topic that you know that they're interested in. It really has to appeal to them, to be helpful or entertaining to them in some way. So especially with the alpha male who's probably like busier and more like focused on all this than the beta male, it really has to be of value. So if you're just going to send stuff that's of no value, don't send it. Definitely, this is another instance where the quality is better than the quantity.
You got to add value in his life.
Add value.
That will work.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. All right, Rachel, I learned a lot. My texting 101 training is done. Like, I learned so much. I hope everyone else learned as much as I did. Thank you so much. Rachel, my favorite matchmaker, New York City, New Jersey, rock star. I'm going to put down below
Mhm.
your website so people can get a
Yes.
hold of you. Tell us about what you got going on these days.
Perfect. Well, my website, rachelrusso.com, you'll see I have some different dating and relationship coaching services that I do. I focus on that and a lot of matchmaking. So I do matchmaking for men and for women, and it's kind of a boutique practice, but I take on people that I really like and that I'm really excited to work with, and basically consider the whole world as my database. So I'm going out and about to different events, I'm networking, I'm contacting people on social media, and just getting them interested in the clients that I have and setting them up. So they're two real focuses of my business right now. And as Mike mentioned, I also write. I love to write. I'm working on another book. I have 2 books that are on my website. One that might be helpful to you guys is about getting over an ex. I know at times we could all use a little help dealing with breakups, so you could check that out. And also follow me on social media for more books and projects, and a lot of exciting things will be coming up this year, and you'll see what they are. I'm just discovering some of them now. A lot of collaborations and upcoming events.
Yes. Rachel, now, do you have a free gift for everybody? I forgot.
Yes, I do. And I wanted to say thank you again for having me on here. And this was a fun conversation. So I'm willing to have another conversation, whether it's about this or anything dating and relationship related. So anyone who is listening and would like to, I can do a complimentary 15-minute consultation, and it can be on Skype or FaceTime or on the phone. And I'll see if I might be able to help them.
Wow. Free advice?
Free advice.
Oh
No
my
catch.
God. You are so generous.
Thank you. I try.
Awesome. Rachel, as always, you are a genius, and I learned so much from you. And I'm so happy that you are in my life and giving me advice. Thank you so much. And we will see you next time.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Good luck to everyone.